Let's get into our first talk of the day. A former Chief Justice of the Gambia, Justice Emmanuel Fagbenle, has said that the extradition of Abba Kyari to the United States would not be automatic. According to him, his extradition is subject to proper judicial process. He says it is the court pronouncement that could hand him over for extradition, without which his extradition could not be possible. Extradition has a judicial process between two countries that have treaties, in this case between the United States and Nigeria. And until the completion of judicial process or procedure binding both countries, Abba Kyari may not be heading to the United States anytime soon. The Deputy Commissioner of Police, Abba Kyari, was suspended to give room for investigations following allegations against him by the Federal Bureau of Investigation in the United States. This will form part of our discussion in the next couple of minutes. So joining me in the studio is human rights lawyer, Justice Uhuewu. It's nice to have you join me this morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you.
It's my pleasure.
Very good. And we also have joining us on Zoom, Chino Obiagu, Senior Advocate of Nigeria and the National Coordinator, Legal Defense and Assistance Project, LEADAP. It's nice to have you join me, Chino. Okay. We saw his face earlier on. All right, now let's, Justice, let's start from here. When it comes to extradition treaties and all of that, of course, we know by the laws and antecedents that Nigeria and the United States have an agreement on extradition. In fact, some persons in the past have been extradited to the United States before. In this case, what makes the difference between this case and maybe any other case in the past?
Well, as far as I'm concerned, and by virtue of the law, I don't think there's no difference. Okay. Because we all know that by the legal system we operate in Nigeria today, everybody is equal before the law. So there's nothing like a sacred cow or this. Unfortunately, in as much as we belong to a country where we believe that some people are more equal than the others. I think that's why some people will be saying, what is the difference between this and that? No, we are all human beings. And nobody is above the law. If a purported crime has been committed by a person, despite whom you are subject to the law. And as we know today, by virtue of our law, the only people that cannot face criminal or cannot stand criminal trial for any reason is only the president, his vice, the governor of a state, and deputy.
For the period of time
they're in office. And I think the law did that in just in order to exempt them within that period to avoid distraction. Let me put it that way, distraction. In as much as some of us that belong to the civil society group had always argued that that clause should even be removed from our law, so that it can give room for performance, diligence, and integrity.
All right, let me bring Chino Obiagu in here now, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Now, when it comes to this process, try to enlighten us, educate us, what really is the process or should be the ideal process of extradition in this kind of a case?
Yes, thank you very much. Extradition is governed by the statute, by the law, and also by bilateral agreements between the two countries concerned, in this case, United States. And when there is no such agreement between the two countries, then the law of extradition of the country of request will apply. Now, Nigeria has an Extradition Act 2004, which is relevant in this case, and Nigeria also has an extradition treaty with the United States. So I think at this time it is these two instruments that will be applicable. The process of extradition is clearly spelled out in these laws. It is not a matter of writing a letter or making a diplomatic demand of Nigerian government to release Abba Kyari. No, the process is that the diplomatic office of the United States, Nigeria, should make a request to the Attorney General of the Federation, who will now make application to the court and a request for extradition order. This is the provisions of 4. And when that application is made, the court has the discretion to look at the request made and see whether it falls within the accepted categories. For instance, it's not politically motivated charge, or is not going to suffer unfair trial when he's extradited. So these are procedures that should be followed, because the law is clear on that.
All right, let me stay with you, Chino. When you talk about the issue of being sure that the person will not be subject to unfair trial, how do you determine all of these issues ahead of time when the case has not started in that, or the prosecution process has not started in that light?
Well, it is the person sought to be extradited that will prove that he may face unfair trial when moved to a country of request. So the burden is on him when the extradition order is made. His application is made to court to show that. And of course, there's other conditions that the charge is not politically motivated, or he's not being prosecuted because of his tribal or political opinion. So the onus is on the person to show there's going to be unfair trial. One of the ways of showing so is that he's going to be subjected to torture, or he's going to be subjected to unfair treatment when he's extradited to a country of request. And it is the court that will decide whether that is so and make a extradition order. In other words, extraditing a citizen of Nigeria to another country is a judicial function, and it's only the court, and in this case, either the Federal High Court or the Magistrate Court under Extradition Act 2004 that can make the order. The Attorney General needs to satisfy the court that when the person is extradited to the United States or for country of request, that there will be fair trial and not be prosecuted.
All right. Now, Justice, a lot of, if you listen to a lot of people, they have said, well, if the coin had flipped the other way, and Nigeria is requesting someone to be extradited from the United States, that the U.S. may not necessarily just give up the person. Well, we've not, from my little research, I've not found out that yet, but should that be, or how should that be a guide as to, okay, because you feel the other country will not honor it, so you shouldn't honor it or something?
No, you see, that is the problem we're having in Nigeria, and that is the problem we keep on having when we begin to politicize so many things. Now, the United States we know today is not like, their system does not operate like Nigeria. So it is a far, far, far aberration for anybody to even think that way. Because we all know that if anybody has purportedly committed an offense in Nigeria, and maybe the person is a United States citizen or whatever, like the Leonard 6 said, there are condition precedents that you need to fulfill before the person will be extradited. So for anybody saying that if it is America, they will not do that, but why are we even talking about this now? Is there an issue? The issue is that these people had made a request for extradition. It's for us to look at our laws, the enabling laws, and follow the law and do the needful. So coming to bring all these things now, I think it's been unnecessary political. People, you see, we keep on telling people, when it comes to issue of law and judicial process, we talk law, we're not talk, it's not argument, it's not, how do I call it, it's not ordinary logic, it's not
sentiment, it's not
sentiment or emotion about it. And that is why we keep on trying to let Nigerians know that our system must be working. If the institutions are working, we won't be here. It's the institution that will work. Because let me tell you, when a law is being made, the law was not made because of you or because of me or because of any other person. But fortunately, unfortunately, the law is there. So anybody that falls, period of the law will have to face the law. It's just as simple as that. And remember, like I said, having in mind that we are all equal before the law, nobody is above each other. So as far as I'm concerned, it does not follow.
All right, Chino Biagu, let me come to you on this and on the issue of diplomacy and bilateral relations and friendship between the United States and Nigeria. What impact will that relationship have on issues like this? Like Justice has said, this is the issue of the law. There are no sentiments or emotions or friendship or enmity between it, as the case may be. But we know that United States and Nigeria have been closely related when it comes to bilateral friendship and diplomacy for so many years. What is the impact of that on a case like this?
Well, I mean, the United States and Nigeria has always had this legal mutual assistance, and not just in the area of extradition, there's also in the area of exchange of intelligence. And this is not the first time extradition proceedings will take place between the United States and Nigeria. Remember that when the late Senator Bajure, is it the one from Ogun State, there was a request for his extradition, and the process went through, and the courts, there's also a number of other, judicial requests, judicial orders for extradition between United States and America and Nigeria, because the bilateral agreement for extradition between Nigeria and United States dated back to 1913 or so, when Nigeria was still under the British colonial government, and Nigeria inherited that extradition agreement. So it is a normal legal procedure for countries to request for extradition of persons accused in their own country from the country of where the person is found himself, or even when the person is tried or was convicted and leaves the country to another country because they call it a fugitive. It is a normal thing to make those requests. So the mere fact that this is involving a super corp, becoming a news issue, doesn't detract from the fact that it's a normal procedure, and the United States and Nigeria has always had legal mutual assistance and exchanges right from time. So I'm not sure it's going to affect they're going to create any diplomatic row at this time. But what is important is that the law should be followed, the procedure should be followed, and the proper thing should be done. Attorney General should initiate the proceedings, and the court should make an order if there's a need to extradite him.
All right. Justice, the Chino was making reference to late Senator Buruji Kashamu at a time when there was an order for him to be extradited, but eventually he was not extradited, one way or the other. In this case, we've had cases where a person is requested to be extradited, but is not extradited, maybe due to one thing or the other. What is the worst case scenario if Abba Kyari is not extradited? How would it impact the case or the trial, as the case may be?
Well, I think it will depend on the country that is requesting for the extradition. One thing is clear, and one thing we should bear in mind is that for a country like United States of America to go further to even get to this extent of seeking extradition, I believe that everybody should know that they must have done their homework very well. Fortunately or unfortunately, let me put it that way, the system being operated in the United States is quite different from what we are doing in this part of the world, in Nigeria. We all know that they have a system in America where before their security agents do anything or even go for arrest or even initiate any move for arrest, they have already concluded their investigation, gotten their facts with evidence and all the rest. It's not like Nigeria where you arrest somebody and want to keep that person and start extracting evidence from that person by fire by force. So you see why the thing is different. You're talking about Buruji Kashamu. We're talking about politicians. Apart from that, Buruji Kashamu is not the only person. There have been series of people that have been extradited. You remember Ibori's case and all the rest. So we all know about all this thing. But what we are saying is this: what are we doing for the institutions to be working. And this should be a lesson to Nigerians and to all of us and to any government that will come tomorrow. Because when the institutions are working, if anything happens, the president is not your business, the governors is not your business, the National Assembly is not your business. The institution will work. It's not you. It's the institution that will work. Like the learned said also, we all know the procedure of extradition and all the rest. So once the requirements have been met and the whole thing, is done, then so be it. And remember, like we said, it's a judicial process. It's not a political thing. So there's little or nothing anybody can do. But one thing we should know about United States of America, they act like a patient dog. They are ready to wait for whatever you feel you want to do. But at the end of the day, they will always want to get what they want, especially when they feel they have the facts, the evidence, and everything. You see, let me tell you, we should be concerned now. Not because it's him or Abba Kyari. It could be me. Yeah. It could be you. It can be anybody tomorrow. I could be a governor tomorrow. I could be a president tomorrow. And remember that, you see, that is why even in Nigeria, we have that same provision in Nigeria. Time does not run against the state. So it will also tell us some of these things. We should learn when events happen. Some of these things should tell us that we should be careful whatever we do in life and wherever we find ourselves. Yes.
All right, we have to leave it here now. Justice Suhuebu, thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you. This is my pleasure.
All right, and Chino Biagu, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, thank you for enlightening us on these issues.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.